Hello, boils and ghouls. Welcome to Watchers Podcast with your hosts, Brad and Colson.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Why are you doing this to us?
Because you were home.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, and even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, of good or evil, right or wrong.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. My name is Brad, here with Colson Oliver.
Hello.
And today, we have another movie review for you.
We do.
Surprise, surprise.
That's right.
If you came here expecting something else, well, you're sorely mistaken. Before we get going, Colson?
Yeah.
How you doing today?
Doing good. Still in a heat wave.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yep.
It's going to be weird, people listening to this.
Yeah.
Being like, heat wave?
Heat wave.
What are you talking about?
It's the fall.
Yeah. Did you watch anything this week?
I did. I watched First Blood. First Blood Rambo.
Ah.
I don't even know what the hell. That series is so fucked up with their what they call it.
Yeah.
First Blood. The original Rambo movie. Love that movie. It's phenomenal. It's one of the best action movies of all time, in my opinion. Just a guy who gets kind of screwed over by some fucking cops, and he's like, oh, really? I'll just fucking lead you into the mountains and slaughter you all. Such a good watch.
You know what's funny? I've never seen it.
Oh, no?
No, I have to watch it. It's one of the ones that I'm like, yeah, that looks good.
Yeah.
I just never got to it.
It's such a fun one. So I watched that. I watched Brightburn again for the second time. That movie is fantastic.
It's so good.
I love it.
Me too.
Just Superman if he went the other way.
Yeah.
Such a great idea. Love the movie.
Yeah.
The other one I watched is The Hurt Locker.
Oh.
Second time watch for me. I don't like this movie very much. No, it's definitely not my favorite. I have a lot of war movies. I go through phases of buying and watching them.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I don't know.
Yeah.
Something about it. I don't know what it is, but
I really liked this movie when it came out.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but this was my introduction to Jeremy Renner.
Right.
First time I had seen him in anything, I think.
He and Anthony Mackie are in this together, so you get two Avengers in it. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just something about it. I find it a little bit. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
Although I should say that Iraq war movies, the war on terror, not my favorite of the group. I like World War II stuff.
Yeah.
Just better movies in my opinion.
Yeah.
That I've seen, but not my favorite movie for sure.
Right.
Not bad. It's just something about it I don't love. But that's what I watched.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you?
Nothing.
Nothing. Too busy.
Yeah, it's been a busy week at work.
Yeah. I hear you.
But I did watch one movie.
Okay.
That's called The Stuff.
Yes.
I can't get enough of The Stuff. From 1985.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll let you give a rundown of this.
Okay. Directed by Larry Cohen, who's done some other movies that we haven't reviewed, but we've talked about maybe wanting to one day, and The Ambulance being one of them.
Yep.
Plot. So, a delicious, mysterious goo that oozes from the earth is marketed as the newest dessert sensation. But the tasty treat rots more than teeth when zombie-like snackers who only want to consume more of this strange substance at any cost begin infesting the world.
Yeah. So, horror comedy,
Yep.
we'll point out right off the bat.
Yep.
The stuff is kind of like fluff, I guess. Or
Fluff.
maybe it's an ice cream, I don't know.
I picture fluff.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like. Although they do keep it everywhere. It's in the freezer, it's in the fridge, it's on the shelf.
Yeah.
So it's kind of whatever, I guess.
Yeah. As someone who worked in a grocery store, you currently do.
Yeah.
That's an insane amount of shelf space given to one product.
Sure is.
That would never happen.
No. Yeah, it's a lot. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I picture marshmallow fluff.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. That's what it moves like, to me anyway.
Yeah.
We will spoil the movie.
Yes.
Hour 26 short movie. Probably, less than that with credits gone.
Yeah.
The cast. Michael Moriarty plays David. Andrea Markovici, Vicky, plays Nicole. Paul Cervino, Colonel Spears. Garrett Morris plays Chocolate Chip Charlie. And you get Danny Aiello as Vickers.
Yeah.
A lot of big names who are not in it for Danny Aiello, Academy Award nominated actor. Paul Cervino, another one. They're both not in it very long.
Yeah.
I can see why.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. 30 seconds into the movie, there's an old man sticking his fingers into the stuff in the ground and eating it.
Yeah.
A guy comes up, he says, "Are you eating snow?" And he says, "What, am I crazy? Why would I eat snow? No, it's some random goo coming out of the ground."
Imagine that being your first thought. It's like, oh, white slime coming out of the ground. Better taste it.
Yeah, and then accuse the person of thinking I'm crazy for eating snow.
Yeah.
No, I'm not eating snow. What am I, fucking nuts? I'm eating this goop.
Yeah.
It's bubbling. You fucking nothing. That guy is an idiot.
Oh, I know.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was like I say, 30 seconds in, we're getting, hey, this shit comes out of the ground and it tastes good.
Yep. Yeah, they're not wasting any time with this movie.
No. Jumps right into it.
Yep.
We see a young boy wakes up in the night and he's smacking mosquitoes off of his arm and he says, hey, he's getting eaten alive in here. And then he closes his windows. I got a question for you. When did screens become a thing? Because in a lot of movies, people have their windows open with no screen.
That's true.
So when did it become a common thing?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
We always had screens on our windows
Us
when I
too.
was a kid.
Us too. I don't know. Very strange, though. Most horror movies and movies in general, they just open their windows. And
that's because they have people climbing in their windows all the time. Because doors.
Yeah. What's his name? Vanderbeek from Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ever climbed in the window or not. I didn't watch the show. Anyway.
Sounds like you might have watched the show.
I actually remember it from, I think it's Scary Movie. They make the joke.
Oh, yes.
Climbing in. Oh, wrong set. That's what he says.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jason is the kid, though. Yeah. The big corporate guys on the yacht.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into that scene a little bit here. These are other, they're like ice cream. It's like Ben and Jerry's type guys.
Yeah.
They meet on a yacht. I don't know. This whole thing, I wrote this down. It's kind of like a child's imagination of what would these corporate bigwigs be doing on a yacht, meeting in secret about getting secret agent, fucking find out what's in the stuff.
Yeah.
It was so ridiculous.
The whole movie is ridiculous.
Very, very ridiculous.
And kind of put together weird.
Yeah.
Like, I found it a little jumpy, like from one scene to the next.
Yeah, all over the place.
It is all over the place. Yeah, it's a weird one.
Very, very weird. David, we meet David in this scene. He's a former, possibly FBI agent. He got kicked off of the force or whatever the fuck you call it. The way that guy shakes hands, a normal human will put out their right hand and shake the other person's right hand.
Yeah.
They lock in. David puts out his left hand in like a hand-holding position and then says sweaty palms to the guys who are then holding his hand. I hated David from the moment I saw him.
He's played by Moriarty,
yes.
right? Yeah. I guess he, like, ad-libbed almost every line.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Some of the dialogue in this movie is fucking super cringy.
Oh, yeah.
Not as bad at the beginning. This scene in the yacht, he's kind of cringy, whatever.
Yeah.
But when they introduce Paul Cervino about an hour into the movie, and you realize there's only 20 minutes left, and Paul Cervino, who is credited second on the DVD cover, is only in the movie for about 7 minutes, it's a rough dialogue.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Jason is the child. He sees the stuff moving.
Yeah, he knows not to eat it, but
something's up with it.
Everybody's eating
it. He has a little breakdown in the grocery store. This is the scene where you had mentioned it's everywhere.
Yep.
It's on top of freezers. It's in freezers. He's got a stick and he's fucking whacking all this shit off.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because we do see some of them broken, but for the most part, those wouldn't break open.
No.
So what do you? You're causing this huge haruff for nothing. I mean, most of them is pick back up.
Yeah.
Little prick kid, get out of here.
Yeah.
It is funny, though, because it takes 3 grown men to get this kid down.
Well, I mean, he has a stick.
Yeah, he does have a stick. Yeah, very, very funny. You had mentioned this movie, hey, let's do this one, and I was like, yeah. You're like, kind of the Blob, and it definitely has that attempt, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of playing off the Blob.
But I think this movie came out in 1985. I think the Blob remake didn't come out until after this.
Yeah.
So they're going off of that idea of the original from the 50s or 60s or whenever it was. But it definitely has some similarities. But yeah, I'll talk about the Blob a little bit later on when I do my little wrap-up opinion thing. But the movie itself, this movie is just, it's like you had said, it's jumpy.
Yeah.
And I said the dialogue and script writing is cringy. And if you say the guy ad-libbed, he should have, I don't know, ad-libbed better or scripted, read the script a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
The first time we see Vickers, who is a guy from the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, he has a dog there. He's clearly scared of the dog. He mentions how he eats the stuff, and the dog, he feeds it to the dog too, but he's afraid of the dog. And the guy's like, "Why is your master afraid of you?" You know, and whatever. And he leaves him, and out of nowhere, it just kind of happens. The dog starts attacking the guy.
Yeah.
He falls to the floor and he picks up the phone and the dog pulls the phone cord out of the wall.
Yeah.
And the way that Danny Aiello kind of looks at the phone and just throws it away, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then we see the dog, and this is what made me think of The Thing. I mean, this movie is trying, it seemed to me like it was like, oh, The Thing was a huge movie a few years ago. Let's fucking do some special effects like that. And they try. And it looked cool.
Yeah.
The dog's mouth opened. There's white fluff. This stuff pours out, and it was cool.
Yeah, I thought overall, like, clearly they didn't have a high budget,
right?
So I think they did a pretty good job with the fluff overall.
I agree.
They did a lot of like miniatures and like forced perspective, where things are farther back and the fluff is up front.
Yeah,
things like that. I guess a lot of the time it was made out of like ground up fish bones.
I heard that.
And smelled terrible.
Yeah, that's
so gross.
Certain scenes it looks like almost like a soapy water type thing. Other times it does look like fluff or yogurt.
Yeah.
With a decent amount of the special effects.
Yeah.
I'll talk about another one coming up.
I think I know what we're going to be talking about.
Chocolate Chip Charlie.
Yeah.
He attacks David at one point when David's in the town.
Mm-hmm.
This is the introduction to him. He throws the worst / best punch in movie history. He misses him and ends up punching the road.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. He thinks he's some sort of kung fu master guy. Classic character.
Yeah.
Jumping forward, the convenience store guy is a death that we see, but they don't end up dying. I had written like certain deaths down, and then we see them like
it's almost like they're being taken over and becoming zombies.
Exactly.
I guess.
So I have, when the time comes, I count some of them as kills. Whatever.
Yep.
This one, his mouth is open wide, and Chocolate Chip Charlie goes, "Nobody can open their mouth that wide." It's just such a fucking funny line, because it's like the mouth. If you haven't seen this and you don't plan on watching it or whatever, I assume out there people have seen The Ring. Mm-hmm. When they open the closet and her mouth's like wide open, that's what their mouth is doing. Chocolate Chip Charlie's like, nobody can open their mouth that wide.
Yeah.
It's funny. But yeah, the stuff.
Chocolate Chip Charlie's probably my favorite character in the movie.
He rules. Yeah, the shit though, the stuff, it goes out windows, moves around, it's avoiding them. They get chased by town people. At this point, they're Chocolate Chip Charlie and David, and they're running. Now, this is a scene where the effects are pretty cool.
Yeah.
As these people are chasing them, he hits them with like a stick or whatever, and it caves his face in.
Yeah.
And then the other guy punches a guy, and his like jaw falls off.
Yeah.
And it looked really good. It was quick enough that you got to see everything.
They just cut away quick enough
that you weren't like, oh Jesus, you can see styrofoam there or whatever the fuck.
Exactly.
It worked well. And Jason, we cut back to Jason. His whole family's eating the stuff. He's the only one who's not. They try to feed it to him, and he runs away. His father is just he's awful.
Yeah.
But as the kid runs away, he's just like, get him! And Jason's brother catches him, and then they give him the stuff, and you go upstairs and eat this, and don't come back down till it's gone. And he goes up there and he dumps it in the toilet. We see it moving. It looks like it's almost like somebody's hand in like the stuff puppetry.
Yeah.
Flushes it. Put shaving cream in, Barbasol shaving cream, and he eats that, which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, this was one of the best parts of the movie. I thought it was so funny.
It's so good.
He's just like eating it and being like, "Oh yeah, this stuff's great."
It's great.
Trying not to throw up.
Yeah, the family then chases them, and he gets into David's car, who's passing whatever, and he mentions how he ate shaving cream because he throws up in his car. And David's like, I think the line was, everybody's got to eat shaving cream at some point or something like that. It's like, what the fuck? What are we watching here? This is crazy. It was funny, though.
It was.
Now, David and the advertising lady who is responsible for getting this stuff out there, making it popular. They're in a motel. Now, they're sleeping in the same bed. Now, this is the scene that I wanted to talk about, because the set that they used was actually used in A Nightmare on Elm Street. Did you see that? So, I guess it's the set where Johnny Depp gets sucked into his bed, and then the blood pours out.
Yeah.
This one didn't quite look right, because the set... It was clearly... I don't think it was upside down completely. I think it was on...
Yeah.
Because the stuff pours out like you're pouring out a bottle of water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It just kind of like...
It didn't like that. And I guess the difference, one, is Wes Craven to... what's the guy's name? Larry Cohen. I mean, you say Larry Cohen, some people are going to know him, but you say Wes Craven, most people know.
You say Larry Cohen, and people will be like, oh, is he one of the Coen brothers?
Yeah.
No.
Another thing, obviously, is budget.
Yeah.
But yeah, that scene, it just kind of looks silly because the guy's on the wall, and they do this whole thing where it pours out onto him, and just before that, it wraps on David's face. It looks like a giant shot a load on David's face. Sorry for this disgusting visual. But it wraps around his face. He can't breathe. They end up lighting it on fire, and that's kind of how they figure out, hey, we can kill this shit a little bit or keep it, away, and they burn it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole scene with that set that turns doesn't quite look right. Could have been done or done better, but whatever.
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. There's a cool cameo in this movie that I like.
Okay.
They have an old lady sitting at the table.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Where's the stuff?" That's the "Where's the beef"
Where's
lady.
the beef? Is it Wendy's or Bert?
I forget which restaurant it was, but yeah, that was the thing.
Yeah.
Like, the burgers looked small compared to theirs. So she'd be like, "Where's the beef?" And it became a huge thing.
Yeah.
But they have her in this movie saying, "Where's the stuff?"
Yeah.
It's great.
It is good. The cop, they end up stealing a semi truck from the plant, from where they see them sucking this shit up out of the ground.
Yeah.
And at this point, we didn't even mention, but Jason, the kid, is in the back of this tanker.
This whole scene made me feel so gross and uncomfortable.
When they load some of the stuff into the truck. Now this is more of the dialogue that I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
They get pulled over by the cop, and there's a hose running out of the back of the truck because they pulled away before it was full.
Yeah.
And the cop says, "Your hose is hanging out back there." And David says, "Are you going to arrest me for indecent exposure?" And the cop pulls his gun on him. And it's just like, that escalated fucking super quick.
Yeah.
And then they trick the cop by eating the stuff. Like, oh, this stuff is so good. They're eating it off the road, and he's been eating it, so he can't stop. He sees them, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go get some."
Yeah.
And they go, and then David comes over and fucking karate chops him, and he falls unconscious.
Yeah.
Oh, just brutal. Now, I mentioned Paul Cervino playing Colonel Spears. It's about an hour and 4 minutes into the hour and 25 or 26 minute runtime that he finally appears, even though he's listed in the credits as number 2. David explains everything to him, and he just is, "All right, let's fucking go." No investigating at all.
No.
He's all in 100%, no questions. So another great scene where they get the truck, they get a guy to, "Hey, drive the truck back in," and they get there, and he's like, bring it in, and he lights up a cigarette, and the guy ends up shooting him in the head, and all the army guys rush in. Again, the music that plays is almost like a kid's version of, like, a Toy Story or something, music that would play during that. I don't know. Another great line, Paul Cervino, as he shoots one of the guys, and not blood, but stuff pours out of him. He goes, "I like the sight of blood, but this is disgusting." And then more music.
Yeah.
Classic.
It's such a weird movie.
Yeah.
The whole time I was watching it, that's all I could think. I was like, this is so crazy.
So bizarre.
But at the same time, I'd be dead so fast because I'd be one of the first ones guzzling that stuff down. It looks delicious.
It does look good. The scene where the army guys, they land planes and they're met by a bunch of cab drivers. Another fantastic line. The cab driver who's picking them up goes, "What is this, World War III?" And Paul Cervino goes, "Just get us to 4th and Main and no more of your liberal remarks." It's just like, I get douche chills listening to it. Like, oh my God. Embarrassing. Later on, Chocolate Chip Charlie shows up. And this is another, I got the Thing feeling from this scene. He starts twitching. His mouth opens up. His neck is bulging. Yeah. And she's like, Charlie, are you okay?" It's like, what do you not see here? Yeah. You fucking dumb.
Is that a goiter?
Yeah. Goiter. His mouth opens up. There's stuff in his mouth. It pours out.
They used a puppet, I guess.
Oh, is that what they did?
They made like a bunch of Chocolate Chip Charlie heads at different stages of his mouth being open. And then whenever it pours out, they had like a puppeteer behind shoving it out his mouth. Okay. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, see that shit looks good. Yeah. It's nothing compared to The Thing. No. But again, budget-wise, I'd rather have this than some CGI. Yeah. Which, it's all you get today, for the most part. Mm-hmm. That's all I have for notes other than my wrap-up, which does talk about the movie. But I think the movie had potential for sure. Very much like The Blob, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
Because I love The Blob, the remake that we talked about a year ago or whenever it was. I have this movie 50% worse, at least, than The Blob.
Yeah.
So
this one, yeah. It's hard, though, because this one has a completely different tone.
Yeah.
Like, they wanted it to be a horror comedy.
Right.
And no one, like, would market it that way.
Yeah.
Like, even the cover art, it doesn't look like a horror comedy.
No, it looks
it's creepy looking.
Yeah, it's...
And he was like, it's clearly a horror comedy.
Yeah.
And they went with this straight-up horror direction with it.
Yeah.
Even going into it, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
And then... I guess in New York, the day it came out, there was a ton of newspapers that had all these great reviews of the movie. Like, everybody loved it.
Right.
But a hurricane hit the same day, so the newspapers never came out.
Fantastic.
So no one's seen any of these reviews for the movie.
Wow.
And it bombed. But it's become like a cult classic
yeah, it
now.
Is. Yeah, it is that. That's all I... like we mentioned, the effects. I think the effects were really good for what they had.
Yeah.
I think this movie could be remade.
Yep.
And it's tough to say, because I think if it was to be remade, it would obviously be CGI.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if it got remade and was practical, I think it would be good.
Yeah.
I think I'd like it a lot more. Get rid of that fucking Moriarty guy. He was awful.
I oddly liked him.
Okay.
I liked his, like, weird, quick little quips and stuff.
The way he delivered his line.
Yeah,
I fucking hate him.
I liked it. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. I didn't hate the movie. I think it was just a bad made movie, in my opinion. So yeah. On to the kill count. I counted 12. Vickers gets attacked by his dog. The town guy gets his head beat in. The town guy gets his jaw punched off. The pilot, we never mentioned, he just gets covered in the stuff. Guy in the motel gets covered. The worker who was attacking them gets run over, and he kind of pops, which was a good one. Truck driver shot in the head. Army guy who gets shot, or shot the guy who shot the guy in the head. There's a mass suicide scene, I think, inside the factory. Army guys get covered with the stuff as it bursts through the wall, and then Chocolate Chip Charlie opens up. So that's it. 12, I think.
Sounds about right.
I like the two at the water when the jaw gets punched off. I like that one.
That's a good one.
That was my favorite.
My favorite's Chocolate Chip Charlie.
Okay.
I like how stretched out his face gets and everything. It's
nobody can open the mouth that wide. Except for you later on. Anything make you jump?
No.
No, not that type of movie.
No. Even spooky, scary, terrifying. This is
below spooky.
Below spooky, yeah.
On to ratings.
Yeah.
I give it a 4.
Okay. I find it really hard to rate this one.
Yeah.
I think I'm around a 5.5 or something. It's just...
in the middle.
Yeah. I feel like a little bit more editing and maybe a clearer direction might have made a little bit more sense, but yeah, it's hard to tell.
I agree. I think you're right. It's not necessarily a bad movie. It's just not very well put together.
Yeah, it would be a fun movie to sit down with friends and watch and laugh at and stuff. But yeah, it's like one of those so bad it's good kind of things. Yeah. So it's hard to rate.
No, I agree.
Yeah. So that'll do it for this episode. We're gonna go get in an ice bath together for a few hours because it's boiling hot right now.
It's brutal.
Apologize again for the sound in the background. It's a fan.
Yeah.
Currently in the middle of a heat wave. And we'll be back next week, hopefully with something a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
Bye.